Brook and Root carried on from where they left off yesterday, putting on a mammoth 454 record England partnership before Root was eventually dismissed past the 250 mark. Brook hastily made his way past 300 at nearly a runner ball before he succumbed to Ayub. Shortly after, the declaration came with England on 823. Yes, 823 for 7, with the lead of 267. The Pakistan innings got off to the worst possible start, with Shafiq finding his off-stump cartwheeling, courtesy of a Chris Woakes peach, first ball. This gave England confidence, and Pakistan looked listless as they collapsed to 152 for 6 at close, with England on the brink of a famous victory. Welcome back to the Cricket Council podcast. You're here with Luke and Will again, and wow, what a day for English Test cricket. Thoughts, Will?
Well, first of all, I want to say fantastic intro work. It's nice to have a break from dreaming it up. Magnificently done. So before we start getting excited about Root and Brooks' performance, I want to congratulate you on your superb work.
Very kind, mate. Very kind.
You're learning from the best, clearly.
Yeah. Cool.
Thoughts are, well, I had other stuff to get on with, so I haven't watched as much as I would have liked today. But I obviously flicked it on with England on. I don't think it was they'd been bowled out at that stage, but they were just on 802 or something with Woakes and Cast bowling. I was just like, what, we're on 800? I just couldn't. I've never seen it in my life before. Any team going past 750, 800. But I suppose after yesterday's magnificence, I shouldn't have been as surprised. So I didn't really watch any of Brook's innings. So I'll be desperate to get in on the highlights later this evening. But wow, it's just pretty exciting. Fair play. I wasn't familiar with all this lack of preparation. It's clearly the way to do things. All of us hacks in the media know absolutely nothing about cricket, clearly, because the bowlers have pulled it out of the bag as well. Woakes looked good. I think it was Affers said that Cast was the pick of the bowlers for him, and I'm inclined to agree. He was bowling good line and length, and Gus was doing his thing. The wicket of Babar Azam I did get to see, and again, just perfect line, perfect length, a little bit of nibble outside off stump. Brilliant stuff, brilliant bowling.
You're right. Atkinson in particular managed to get some kind of life out of this wicket, which, I mean, honestly, if you're a betting man, the draw was the clear favourite. But the way England batted, they went at nearly 5.5 and over for 150 overs. And that really put them ahead of the game and put so much pressure on Pakistan. And you saw some of their shots. I think they were feeling the effects of being in the field for such a long time. And yeah, I think psychologically they were just finished. And of course, England did bowl well as well. But a few of the Pakistani shots, I don't think they'll be too impressed with when they look back on them. The
one where Duckett's took a really good catch over his shoulder. Can you remember who was batting?
Was it Ayub or Cast? Cast's first delivery?
Yeah, it was Cast's first delivery. Yeah, that was poor. That was because it was Saud. It was Saud. I've forgotten his second. Sorry, I'm going to look up his second name now.
Yeah.
Saud Shakil. I'm pretty sure it was him. And that was just a pretty disgraceful shot for the circumstances because he was their most set batter at the time.
Yeah.
And I just don't think you can do that.
Even Shafiq, the first ball of the innings, I know it was a good ball and it did actually look like it hit a crack. But a big booming drive, first ball, when you're 260 behind and you've got no chance to win the test at this stage. So you'd have thought they'd just look to bat time. But yeah, I think getting ahead of the game allowed England to set some really aggressive fields. You saw lots of men around the bat, catching mid-wicket, short legs, silly points. And yeah, I think, it just put a lot of pressure on Pakistan, who've not really had a great run of results, have they? Losing the last 5. And I think, Shah Massoud is probably the most upset, being the captain. And I thought he could have been a lot more experimental with the fields and also the instructions to the bowlers. You didn't see them going much short pitch stuff, which could have prized a few of the England batters out, but they sort of seemed to just be putting it in the slot for Brook and Root to do what they wanted. It was sort of men against boys at times.
Yeah. So a few statistics on the partnership. These are off the top of my head from watching a bit of the coverage, by the way, so I might get them wrong. Hopefully not. It's the highest partnership ever by 2 English batters. It was the 4th highest total in Test history by a team, and it was also the 3rd time that England have gone past 800 in Test match cricket, and that's the most of any side. It was also the highest total since the Second World War, and I think Brook's innings was the highest total by an Englishman, apart from Wally Hammond. But who was it who said? One of the guys on the comms said that, or it might have even been a tweet, that he did it in about half the number of balls as Wally Hammond. It's something like that. So that tells you a lot about the development of the game and how quickly Brook put on the runs as well. He was going at about just under a run a ball by the end of his innings. And yeah, it's crazy work from the England batters. My moment of the day was actually, weirdly, the Root wicket, because it showed how ridiculous his mentality is. Go and watch it, any listeners who haven't seen it. He's absolutely livid when he gets out. He's on 200 and 264 or whatever it was, and when all the Pakistani players really classily came over and shook his hand, he could not out of rudeness, he could barely look them in the eye because he was just absolutely fuming that he'd got out. And that was just a testament to his greatness. I thought it was a mammoth innings. It was a memorable partnership. It was a memorable innings, and I want to thank England for giving us another memory. This regime, if you could call it that, giving us another fantastic memory watching England play Test cricket.
This is probably one to ask Rayan, but do you think he'll surpass Tendulkar and become the leading run scorer in men's Test cricket of all time?
It's a great question. He'll definitely get to second. I'm very confident he'll get past Ricky Ponting in second. Because I was looking at the stats, and Thatcham was actually, you're kind of thinking, it's 15,000. It's 16. He needs to get to 16,000, because Thatcham's 15,922, I think.
How old is Root? He's
34 in December.
Yeah, I mean, it's still young enough. I think
he's got 4 years in the tank, hasn't he? Because he's going to keep going. He's going to keep going. He said in his interview yesterday evening, when asked how great does it feel to be the highest English run scorer, he just said, there's a lot more runs to get still. So he's got his eyes on it, even if he won't say it explicitly. He will. He'll do it. You've heard it here. He's going to do it. Going to go past Thatchin.
The only way I could see it not happening, and this does actually happen to some batters later in their career, it gets to a point where their eyes do slightly go. And you have seen it with some of the greats.
Steve Smith.
Yeah. I think it even happened to Ponting, and you look back and how good they were, and then it actually reminds me of Gary Neville playing right back for United late in his career.
Leave the football before the football leaves you.
Exactly, and it was just the same. It gets embarrassing, and because they have been so good and so proud, I think it's at that point that they realise they need to bow out before it does really harm their reputation. But yeah, I think he's got a great opportunity. I think there's obviously a lot of talk about the big four: Virat, Steve Smith, even Barber at one time. I think Root is far superior to any of them at this point in time.
Oh, it's been, first of all, apologies to all Scousers for my shocking Scouse accent just then. But yeah, he's I would say since he's relinquished captaincy, before he relinquished captaincy, he was probably last in that big four debate.
Yeah.
And then the 3 years since, he's averaged over 60 in the 3 years since. He has been definitely by far and away the best in test matches since he left the captaincy in those 3 years. In the world, he's been the best batter in the world for that period of time. Indian fans of Virat, come at me. I won't back down on that one. Rayan will have something to say about that, but luckily he's not here, so he can't right now.
Yeah, just to go back to his dismissal, it did make me laugh actually because it was so plumb that Root actually barely waited for the umpire to put his finger up and just walked off.
Yeah,
and you saw actually, Sky showed actually after he got out, he laid out all his kit on the outfield to dry, and that just shows how much he had sweat. Yeah, it's not easy batting long times out in Pakistan, given the concentration is just amazing. And you saw that with the Pakistan in the first innings. A few of them did get to the 100 mark, but what was really pleasing is how greedy Root and Brook were. And that is actually going to be what's going to win England the game. Because well, not anyone, but most people could make 100 on that pitch.
Most of that England side, not most people.
Apart from Ollie Pope.
Apart from Ollie Pope. Shout out to Ollie Pope.
Yeah, bless him.
Fair play. King right there.
I also enjoyed Cars hitting his second ball of Test cricket for 6. I think he does have that kind of X factor about him. It was interesting he came in below Atkinson. I know Atkinson got that 100 in the summer. But yeah, I think Cars can definitely bat, and his bowling, he looks really quick and skiddy. And I think on these pitches he's useful, but out in Australia, I think he's going to be even better.
Yeah, high release point me up and check that shit.
Indeed.
And so I suppose for Australia, who have we got? So we've got Cars, is really doing himself a good. He's putting a good audition in this first Test match. Atkinson's a shoe-in, unless injury takes him out. Wokes is going to be an interesting one. We'll have to monitor his progress. He's been all right second innings, but he's still third best bowler of the innings. Sorry, my dogs decided to attack the sofa there. I'm not sure if you can pick that up on the microphone.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. The Wokes thing is going to just always be. I just don't think he just doesn't look that. I'm just not scared of him. If I had to play, if me had to be teleported out over to Multan to face any of the England bowlers, I'd pick Wokes. If I had to pick a seamer, I'd pick Wokes. Otherwise, I'm picking Leachy and just put my bat down. But I'd pick Wokes.
Yeah, I think you're right, but it is interesting because they got rid of Anderson so hastily, and they are looking to the future. I wonder if they have just told Wokes, you're the one who's going to be leading the attack for the next few years. And I mean, he has bowled well in both innings, actually. I don't think you can say he's bowled badly.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, I do get what you mean. You just
on vibes.
Yeah, you just do wonder out in Australia whether he's got the sort of pace to trouble the Australian batters. But yeah, I still like Wokes as a cricketer. So yeah, it'll be interesting. Thinking ahead, I know we haven't won this Test match already, but thinking ahead to the next Test, I would like to see Potts get a chance because, yeah, we've talked about how good he was in the county championship, but also on the England Lions tour earlier this year, he tore it up completely.
Good point.
Against a good Indian second side out there. So, yeah, I think he could be a handful in these wickets as well.
No, you're right. I'd forgotten about how well he played in India for the Lions. because I wouldn't have a problem with him playing maybe the third test, depending on what happens in the Multan rerun that we've got in about a week's time or so.
I saw a lot of people saying we should play the second test on the same pitch, and then
a bit of deterioration. I think Cam Ponsonby, I think I saw him on Twitter.
Yeah,
I hope it was his name right.
Yeah, I think. Well, actually, for all the slagging off the Multan pitch, it looks like for all the world it's going to produce a result. So.
That's England's brilliance, though. England take all the credit. The pitch takes none of the credit. The pitch is still shit.
Yeah,
and
I have at times been critical of Bazball and sort of saying you need to adapt to different conditions, but I think this is the perfect example on a flat wicket where playing that expansive brand of cricket is a massive plus.
Well, it's essential to win games. You cannot win a game without the 5-run and over factor.
Exactly, and I do think other nations will be seeing this, and when they come out and play on dead pitches in the subcontinent.
You're sounding like Duckett, Luke. You're sounding like Duckett a little bit.
I know. I've been
brainwashed.
Yeah, brainwashed by watching this England side, honestly. And it's still amazing to me that we're nowhere near the World Test Championship final, and we're not going to qualify because I don't know if it's bias, but when I watch us, I still think we're one of the best teams in the world.
We're top 3. Well, it's because we play loads of games and then lose. We go to India, play 5 test matches and lose 4 of them. That's what happens.
Yeah,
where
it's a big
Sri Lanka are above us in 3rd, I'd like to think. We're better than Sri Lanka.
Definitely.
So, it is just because, when Sri Lanka play India, they might only play 2 tests, lose both. That's still better than playing 5, winning 1 and losing 4. Even though we've beaten India, it's still better to just lose those 2 tests for the way the WTC works. It's a flawed competition in that way, but perhaps England should just play India less or something. I don't know. Not sure how that would go down.
Interesting. And yeah, I know we're assuming England are going to win tomorrow, but do you think Pakistan have any hopes of saving the test?
Salman batted well. I think it was him who got dropped by Bashir. Because I was thinking when that catch went down, if Bashir had kept hold of that, we might be talking about an England win now.
Yeah.
It might have induced because it was into the bowls. It might have. I think it would have been a Shaheen Afridi, or I think it would have been Shaheen Afridi. Can't say his name anymore. Shaheen Afridi coming in next, and then that just really gives England opportunity to put the squeeze on and wrap up. As it is, sun will be shining tomorrow. We won't have the evening conditions, which throughout the test have seemed to get the ball moving around a little bit. So who knows if they can take it deep, get England's seamers down in the dirt a little bit, get them worn out a little bit. Maybe they can put on, there's 200 partnerships have been pretty common relatively in this test match. So if they can get another big partnership together, get through to T, because we've seen that from Root and Brook that getting through to T isn't completely impossible.
No.
Even though batting for 4 hours seems like such a long period of time. Well, it is such a long period of time. I wouldn't completely write them off, but it's 95% England win, isn't it?
Yeah, not that this I think is actually going to make any difference to the result, given how I saw Abra bat in the first innings. But I did notice he didn't take the field today. I'm not quite sure what's wrong with him. Maybe he just experienced the first few days and didn't fancy it. But I think they said he was sick, maybe.
So I heard some comms about that. I think he's missing. I think we only need to take 9 wickets. I think he's out. Maybe an extra day now he might recover and come back tomorrow. But I think if the game had been happening tonight, if we wrapped up tonight, we would have only needed 9 wickets. Maybe he'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully, he's back tomorrow to finish off properly.
As I say, he looks like a bit of a walking wicket, proper number 11. So, yeah, in either case, respect. I don't think it's going to make much difference.
Respect from a fellow tail ender.
Yeah, I think it was the first ball he came in and he just played what can only be described as a slog, not a cricket shot.
A hoik.
A hoik, yeah, but it's entertaining.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I think they're going to need Salman and Jamal to knuckle down tomorrow morning. I will probably not be watching, the esteemed journalist that I am.
Yeah,
I'll be in bed.
I might try and get up, but yeah, we'll see.
Good lad. Good lad. Have you got anything more to add, Luke?
No, all good. Yeah, just as I say, it's been a joy to cover this test match so far, and viva la baseball.
Viva la baseball. Go on, take us out. You introduced us so well. Take us out.
Cool. So we have been the Cricket Council podcast on day 4. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, we really appreciate it. Leave a comment if you fancy.
Please leave a comment. Anyone, if you've bothered to listen this far, leave a comment. It would be amazing to get one up from other than Joshua Ashbery, who is our number 1 fan. Thanks, mate.
Yeah, cheers, guys, and yeah, we'll see you tomorrow, I guess.
Yeah, see you tomorrow. Bye.